So that's part of bringing that whole thing together in focus, is recognizing that I don't have to know all of the mechanics of how it happens. I need to know where I am in relation to the thing I desire, which is in this case, sharing a message about the hows. And then I spend the half an hour to 45 minutes before I sit in front of this computer in quiet. I spend it in meditation, in breathing, in getting my space prepared for the information that I want to convey. I don't have a script. I don't have notes sitting next to me. I have the concept that I've already structured, and I trust, because I've done this enough now in so many different ways, I trust that I will show up. As silly as that sounds, I trust that I will show up, because that's all that matters. This is my creation. And that's true. The other thing I was thinking as you were talking, Moshe, that was so extraordinary is really we are all visionaries. It's interesting. And I thought, wait, hold that thought a second, Jim. Or do you really want to say that? And I thought, yeah, I really do want to say that, because what occurs to me is that it is the lack of belief in our vision that doesn't allow us to find that space of connection. That's why we go to how, because somewhere we've been told we don't get to do, we're not the visionary. We're just the worker. We're just the this. We're just the that. No, we're not just the that. You've been pigeonholed into that experience, complementary experience, by society and the entrainment, but by yourself because you believed it. So the hows become the only way. It's not even out, because you can't get out of that experience by howing it, but it is the way that we utilize that space, that limitation, that huge limited space, to try to force our way through unworthiness to a place of thinking we deserve what we want, all couched in the belief of unworthiness. Do you follow that?
Yeah, I do. and I think, to me, the piece that stands out is the conundrum piece. So I'm thinking, and this is important for your listeners and viewers, given the culture we live in and the context we operate in. And it's the idea that, well, imagine you're at work and there's people around. Remember those days when there were people around? and they see you preparing for your show, and you're sitting there meditating, and someone says, "What are you doing?" You said, "I'm preparing for my show." And you're sitting there for half an hour. They might think, "What the hell is going on? What's he doing?" And it might strike them as odd or inappropriate. But if they saw you hard at work on your show, and seeing a bunch of stuff on the screen, and 3 minutes in, I'm going to do this, at 18 minutes, I'm going to say this, and so on, with a detailed script. Okay, he's preparing for a show. So that's much more the how and the controlling, but you have the practiced trust to know it will come in. I don't have to produce all those details. And in our world, the conundrum is that's not the way we've grown up or what we've been taught about how to be. So you are teaching the world in the spirit of the world is good. You're teaching another way of being that says, I'll do my work, I'll have my vision, I'll do my work, I'll know it's right because of the inspiration I feel, and then I can let go and spend the next amount of time tuning in and letting the how come through me. And that, to me, that's a huge shift in paradigm and requires a good deal of trust and willingness to buck the system that says, no, you have to control everything and script it out. So I wonder if you could speak to ways for people who are more at that place that our culture says is right, of you have to control everything, you have to script it out, you have to do all that, of how to get started moving from that to what we're talking about, which is more rooted in trust and love.
Yeah. So I want to say from the get-go is that it's not hard, but it is challenging initially, because when you, and this is true of any belief system that we confront, And they all range on a scale, because some belief systems we don't have a huge attachment to, and some belief systems we have a huge attachment to. So when you are beginning the process of connecting to that inspiration, the first place you have to start is here with the self. You have to start in a place of connection with something. And in this case, the something, I think, needs to be self first, because that's the foundation of everything that you will do. So getting to those moments of quietness, the things as you were talking that I was thinking about is the trust element. I don't ever walk into situations anymore, and I think you and I talked about this a little bit with a show I was on recently. I had a little stuff going on about a show I was going on, because the person who was doing the show I have great respect for, and I think she's very clear and powerful in what she does and how she does it. And it felt like it was a step up for me, in the sense that I was going to a different level of experience, but I didn't change the way I prepared for it. She sent me questions and things that she would talk about during the show, and it freaked me out, because she wasn't just going to ask fluff questions. She was going all in. She was going into my book in a way that nobody had gone in before. And for the first little bit of dealing with those questions, I literally freaked out, going, oh my gosh, she's really going there. And then I sort of went, okay, I'm feeling this. So I'm just going to set this down for a minute. I'm going to step away because this has got me a little worked up, and am I ready? And can I do this? And again, went into my own space, got myself centered, got myself clear in me, and went, Jim, you wrote the book. It's all there. There's nothing to be concerned about. There's no question she can ask that you can't answer, because if you don't know the answer, you also know it's okay to say, I don't know. I don't have an answer for that question. But it's just like what happens here on the show. With me the evolution of this show is a perfect example of that. I didn't want to do a podcast, let alone a live show. And I knew nothing about any of it. And by virtue of my willingness to say, okay, this is what has shown up, and my energy is going, Jim, here, over here, dude, right here, do this. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. But the bigger part of me is saying this, follow. And my commitment to myself is trust that flow. Trust it, regardless of what anybody else says or does. Trust it.